part 3. It refers 12 temples in the Bible or 12 stone buildings. And in Ramayana is referred to as Ravana. 12 buildings. The 12 buildings is the 12, what is it? What is it? You have 20 hands and, what is it? 10 heads. And, well, the 12 stone buildings, 12 buildings. So this is describing Ravana. So these buildings are Ravana. And in the Bible, it is called temples. So I'm going to deal with this Bible here now that many people don't seem to have any understanding. And if you talk to a Hindu, the first thing he will tell you, Ram and Sita, Lakshmana and Hanuman. Okay? But when you go to the Bible and you ask anybody about what they know about the Bible, it is in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Well, what is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Well, I will let you know what is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are 4 books of the Bible of the New Testament. And in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Jesus is seen trekking from temple to temple. Bible scholars fix Jesus' teachings from 30 to 33 CE. I must let you know that that is completely wrong. And they continue to peddle that foolishness. But that is completely wrong because they have no evidence of that in the in first century. Jesus' teachings were from 0 to 12,000 years. Well, I presented this chart, then I presented another chart here. We're going to chart number 49 here. So from 0 to 12,000 years. This is what Jesus is. This is Ram. I explained that in the last video. So it is Ram they're referring to. And concentrated in 12 temples, 12 stone buildings in 10 cities. Now, what I'm concentrating here now is the last 100 years. Between 11 to 12,000, in the last 100 years. This is what we talk. This is where Jesus was traveling between the 12 buildings. Okay? Right? Hindu authors have made complete fools of Bible believers. I want people to understand that Hindus wrote this book and they have made complete fools of all Bible believers, whoever it is. Right? Challenge is to locate each temple visited by Jesus during that time. So this is what I'm going to do here in the last 100 years of the 12,000 years. Okay? Now Jesus entered temples. You always see Jesus entered the Jerusalem temple. You will see that and he moved out from Jerusalem. He entered Jerusalem and then he entered a temple. He entered Jerusalem and he continued that repeating in these 4 books. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John present Jesus entering 12 temples in 10 cities. Jesus, is Ram, visited each temple 4 times in 100 years. Just try to understand that. These 4 books are presenting that Jesus, in one of the books, he has visited 1 temple. In one of the books, whether it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. So in the 4 books, he visited the 4 temples, the 12 temples 4 times each. See if all you can understand that, right? Jerusalem, what they did here in these 4 books, I will just make a quick explanation. They put the temple name Jerusalem, and then the temple, they present a name for the temple. And sometimes they just call it temple. So when you leave Jerusalem, you're going to a temple. And when you leave the temple, you're going to Jerusalem. You are really going to visit 12 buildings, 12 temples in 10 cities. And they continue with that, and everybody thinking of the belief that you are right in Jerusalem, and you leave Jerusalem, and you went to the temple. And you leave the temple and come back. It is not so. Everybody was misled by these 4 books. And anybody want to question it, they are free to do so. Now, the temples are referred to as a marketplace. And you always see that when they're showing any video of that, you'll see Jesus enter the temple and chasing out the market, what we would call the market vendors. Right? These temples, it was a marketplace. As the last time I said, it's a place of trading and sports. This last 100 years. Both Ramayana and Bible have that. But I will read a verse from this. Matthew 11, 16, 17. But to what shall I liken this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces. This is what we're talking about. Marketplaces, we're talking about is 12 billion. Who call to others and say, we have played the flute to you, and you did not dance. We have sung a dirge, and you did not mourn. Now what this verse is saying here, this is how sacrifice celebrations were presented as a marketplace. And verses state that Muslims and Christians had no knowledge of music and dance. So I don't know the Christians presented Mozart and Beethoven and them as the people who make music. They must know that this thing, they were playing music. These cannibals, or Christians and Muslims, these are the people, had no knowledge what music or dance means. So this is presented in your book, okay? Now, what we're doing here now, this is a 100 years journey. This 100 years for the horse sacrifice celebration is a 100 years journey. That nobody can fulfill that feat. 100 years of sports and trading. This is what it is. Now, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John from Bible. Jesus Ram traveled to each of 12 buildings, meaning on average it took 25 years to complete one journey to visit 12 buildings. Therefore, Jesus Ram made 4 journeys to visit each building in 100 years. Most Christian believers are focused on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. This research is proof they have no knowledge on subject of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Right? So what we are doing here is from the last video, I discussed from 11,900 to 12,000. That's 100 years. And now what I'm doing, I'm going to present it from the Bible now, because I presented from the Ramayana last time. So if you go to Deuteronomy 1:2, it states 11 days, meaning 11,000 years. Deuteronomy 1:3 present our first day, which is 1,000 years. So that cater for the 1,000 years here to come to 12,000 years. When you go to 2 Chronicles 36:11, it states 11 years, 11,000 years. And Ram reigned for 11,000 years. That was explained in the last video. Christians present events of 4 books as Jesus preaching in 1st century CE. Everybody believe that this man is in 1st century, right? Jesus is Ram and is going to each of 12 temples in 11,900 to 12,000 years. So you see, when you don't know the time, you are guessing. And this is to tell you that this event that they're referring to in the 3 years in 1st century is really 11,900 to 12,000 years, right? Now you go to Luke 2:44. The travel whole day is referring to the 100 years. And Jesus Ram traveled to each temple in 100 years. Now, Luke 2:41, Jesus Ram traveled every year to each of 12 temples. The verse is stating that. Then Luke 2:42, 43, 12 years is 12,000 years. Horse sacrifice festival came to an end here, right? Festival was over. Ram Jesus literal history was over. Focus is on travel whole day, the 100 years. Now I will present a character by the name of Helena Constantine. Now Helena Constantine is the wife of, or was the wife of Emperor Constantine. In 325 CE, Helena Constantine went to Israel. She created Bethlehem as birthplace of Jesus. Bible has nothing to do with Bethlehem in Israel today, right? In previous video, Bethlehem was referred to as first division of 4 yugas. That is what Bethlehem, I still have it here still, right. In this research, Bethlehem was referred to as a temple. So now, instead of the yugas, Bethlehem is referred to a temple. So you live in Bethlehem to go to Jerusalem, or this is what I was talking about in the beginning there. So let's see, I'm going to read a verse here to see, to explain it. Matthew 2:1. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem. So we're trying to locate the temple. Where is this temple that Jesus is traveling to or leaving? This is what this is the exercise, how to analyze this Bible and Ramayana. Now, Jesus, in this case, Jesus is the building, is the temple constructed in Bethlehem and Judea. That's what the verse is saying. Now, Jesus building temple constructed in east. The verse is saying it come from the east. Where is east? East is Damascus and named Jerusalem. Note, this temple, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, are not in Israel. They are located in Damascus. So the one time, if you can analyze that verse, you will know they're not speaking about the Jerusalem temple in Jerusalem, Israel. Right? I'll give another verse. Matthew 2:13. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph, saying, Arise, take the child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to seek the child to destroy him. Everybody reading that verse. Try to understand what it means. Jesus traveled to Egypt. This is west. So you have 3 buildings in Egypt, which is west. So you leave in Damascus to go to Egypt, right? Matthew 24:27, for as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. Lightning, Jesus left east, meaning Damascus, and traveled to west, meaning Egypt. So you have to put these verses into context to understand Bible. Otherwise, you're just reading Bible and fooling yourself and fooling everybody. Okay? And making yourself feel you know Bible. They are traveling from one temple to the other. You have to, these 4 books are traveling from one temple to the other, 4 times in 100 years.